Hey, Greg.
Hey, what's going on?
You hear me? Is this coming through my headset?
Yeah, you look a little grainy.
Okay. You look good. You look good on my side. It may be your internet.
You think it's my internet?
It could be.
Okay.
It could be.
I can hear you.
Let me just grab something. Can you actually see me?
I can see you. Yes.
All right. Hold on 1 second. Grab my notebook. There we go. We'll wait for a few more people to stream in here.
Okay.
As you can tell, I'll go to the Madden playbook. We got our head of logistics over right here. Over here, we've got our IT.
Is that Nabbit over there? Is that Nabbit right there?
That's him right there. We got Ryan, we got Jory, we got Mike, we got Steve Sladoji, we got the whole team back there. Figured I'd go to the screen. Hopefully that's not a magic marker. So we've got the whole materials exchange team in today. There's Steve Sladoji, our COO, saying hi. Let's make sure we can see everybody. There we go. Make sure I get over. You can see IT. Yeah, we got the whole crew in today.
Oh, there's big. Is that Ryan?
That's Ryan, the big 90+ left-hander.
Just
all right,
froze
let me
up
get one thing up here, Greg. Well, I can see you still. You need the high speed down there, man.
What's that?
You need the high speed down there.
Yeah. Well, we're closing up the Pacific office on Friday morning. Shutting her down for 2022.
Gotcha. So we were on the
is Matt on today or Matt?
Matt is on vacation. I'm guessing he will not be on the call.
Okay, just you and me. All right.
Just you and me, unless he makes it to the call. But I think he's somewhere in the Southwest, in the vortex of Arizona somewhere.
Good for him. Good for him.
I think he may be in a sweat lodge. I'm not sure. So we have a couple people streaming. Mike Richardson, hello from Shelton, Washington. Hello, Mike. Hello from Lancaster, PA. Brett Walls.
You know what I thought we could. Are we fired up now, Ash?
We're all fired up. We're live.
Yeah,
we've been live.
Go ahead. Well, you gotta do your intro, man. You know.
Yeah. So welcome to This Week in Lumber with Greg Riley, Matt Beamer. Greg Riley from Sitka, USA. Matt Beamer is out and about traveling this week. This is a show we do every week, every Wednesday at 12 o'clock. We break down what happened the week ago in lumber, what's going on now, things that we see, things that we know, things that we don't know, things that we don't know, and things that we know we don't know. And
right. What I thought we would do is the Don Rumsfeld is like go, known unknowns and unknown unknowns. And
right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of moving parts right now. Last week when we talked about this, lumber logistics, people were saying how freight was never going to happen. There's never going to be any more cars, never going to be anything else going around. So let's talk about what happened last week, what we came into this week thinking, what's kind of transpired and where we may be going. So I'll let you start it off there and we'll go from there, Greg.
Well, I mean, I think, as midweek indicates, the most weakness on a print basis is on pine. I feel like a lot of the other species are not fully reflective of where the trading levels are. That'll get caught up on Friday. Obviously, the challenge when you have a bellwether like, Western BC 2x4 that there's only 3 producers. Reported pricing is, let's just say it's questionable. You get a much better, the more participants there are, the more market dynamics, the more price trends. I guess maybe walk through, I guess I look at what are the known knowns that I know? I mean, the things that I know are business is great in the field. And inventories, what I think I know is that inventories are adequate on order in transit, but they're light on the ground.
Yeah.
And be tight for prompt shipment, and the farther out you go, the more of a discount there is. What I don't know is how long the current pace of business will be able to sustain itself. What I know is that mortgage rates are now over 4.75%. They're up 25 basis points in a week, and a full saw yesterday that home sales were slowing, and all economists are coming out, drastically lowering. I say drastically. They're lowering their estimate for home sales for the year. So, you and I've been talking about the disconnect between housing starts at 1.7 million, permits at 1.8 million, and completions at less than 1.3, and the number of homes under construction continuing to grow.
Yeah, look, Greg, I saw Stinson put something on Twitter today. It said, "I've been screaming for people to build more homes, but we can't build more homes." Something like that, which is pretty great. I mean, it's like we're at that completion rate that is just sitting there.
It's very steady. I mean, we showed the graph. I think we showed the graph last week, and if you look over the last any time period, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, the spread between the completions is as wide as it ever gets. That's going to have to resolve itself, and as we look at it, completions can maybe tick up a little bit, but mostly it's going to be the result of starts and permits having to slow.
Yeah, well, Greg, you cut out there for a second, but what Greg was saying is the chart on the census from the Census U.S. Census Bureau kind of tracks. We look back to 2011, 12 to current starts, permits, and then completions, right? So you would think your completion should kind of trend and move along that line and kind of follow starts and permits, but it's actually gotten about as wide as I've seen it, at least in the last 10 years. And which tells us that we had a desire to build more, but we can't build more, right? And we have a desire for more homes that wanted to be in the market that can't get finished. Now that could change one way or another, right? We could all of a sudden automatically get a whole heck of a lot more labor and get everything flowing freely and be able to build as many as we're permitting and starting. But in the world we're living in right now, I find that as a hard part of the move. I find it more realistic that maybe starts or permits will sit and wait for it to catch up or slowly tick down a little bit.
And I mean, what I know is that interest rates have moved up very dramatically, and what I don't know is how high they're going to ultimately go. You and I talked about they should immediately raise their federal funds rate to 2%, which would still be would create a negative real rate of interest, with inflation running at 7 or 8%. And that's the other thing is, what I know is that home center business is not going to be and I say I know that just the anecdotal reports, we're getting it certainly out from the treaters and Southern Pine. I haven't seen confirmation yet from US West and SPF producers. But I mean, as you and I talked about, $50 OSB and $10 studs, that's probably an impediment to a lot of home improvement projects.
Well, let's talk about the canary in the coal mine. Isn't it obvious that Southern Yellow Pine would be the first one? Over 50%, and I'm going to throw of Southern Pine goes to treaters, which a lion's share of that goes to home centers. So that would be the first thing. I mean, these big boxes and home centers are smart. They have the feelers, the tentacles, the information, the real-time data of people coming through the store and what they project. I mean, if they're pushing back on building an inventory of treated, that's the first thing that would happen, right? Then the other sticks and panels would come next, I would guess.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that when the market rolled over a year ago was it started with multifamily delaying projects from the second quarter to the third and fourth quarter, and then accelerated when VMI programs got pushed back from the home centers and mills had additional material available. I mean, there's still one big wild card is, the transportation. It's still not resolved. I mean,
still there.
If we look, 30 days from now, should it be better? You would think so, but there's no real handicapping of the ineptness of some of these railroads.
Well, I heard yesterday. So I mean, there's still pockets in the U.S. like the Southwest that is a desert for transportation right now. Rail transportation coming out of some certain places relative to what they historically are. Right? Is it getting better? And yesterday I heard, all these railroads said there's rail cars sitting in Superior, Wisconsin, and other places because they started running them during the cold weather and they had problems with breaking of the wheels, right? I mean, but nonetheless, the shipments are starting to improve, and they will improve because I think people have complained enough, and they should have complained enough to get things going. The big thing over the weekend was everybody was tweeting out and sending out things on LinkedIn about the CP rail strike. Did that ever? I mean, then we were limit down that day.
Say that again, Ash. You broke.
I said the real thing. We were talking about transportation. The CP. Everybody pushed out stuff over the weekend, and the reality of it is the market sold off, right?
Well,
which you always say those are non-events.
I mean, Matt asked me last week, and what did I think about potential rail strike? And it's like the best thing to do is always completely ignore.
Yeah, completely. Basically, ignore them. So you also live in the world of forward pricing and doing big projects. I would think when we adjust this much, that's in play again, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing there's a lot of projects that are that people are looking to place for maybe late second quarter, third quarter, as is always the case. Is as the market starts to adjust down, everyone lowers their they lower their target. They lower their target price. Of course, of some pent up demand. There's no question about it. And we're booking a little bit of that, obviously, based on the discount on the board. We're able to discount. We're able to discount future shipment.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I mean, you and I talked about the other day, percentage wise. What the cash is trading at versus what the CME trading at, percentage-wise, has been this wide. But how far has it got out? $500, the spread between, let's say, quoted price and the CME price. Where are we at right now, Greg, on that?
I mean, I guess I'd say, it's as wide as it ever gets right now, probably. But we've had this, 2018 last year. where the board was at the substantial discounts, and it stayed at a discount until the cash rolled over.
Yeah, you mentioned the fact that where the inventory is in the pipeline, and I had a couple of people I've talked to. One of them actually said, 90%. I have 90 days of inventory, but it's either on order or in transit. My prompt stuff or on the ground isn't as high, so there's wood sitting there rolling or going to roll. Right. The difference is there's a difference between prompt wood and wood a month out right now for pricing for a lot of things. Right.
Yeah, no question about it. Even with the truck transportation issue is, from a lot of locations. There's some places like local delivery is still, if you have, the real change in dynamics is, the availability of long haul truckers. I had one of my carriers who, historically shipped, 15, 20 loads a week for us. Is basically getting out of the long haul flatbed business, because of their inability to get drivers that want to be away from home at night. The competition from, Amazon for guys to do local delivery and make just as much money as they would, driving and being gone for 3 or 4 days. Is changing dynamics for sure.
That makes absolute sense. And then some lanes are opening back up again.
Yeah,
so
what I see is mostly local deliveries. Okay, it's the longer haul stuff that's problematic.
Gotcha. So what do you tell people that are sitting in the buyer's seat and the seller's seat, wondering what's going to go on the next 2 weeks, or trying to? I would say a lot of buyers right now, they disappear and they're going to try to pick the bottom of the market. Where's the bottom of the market here?
Well,
I'm setting up for that one.
Retail lumber yard, the primary job is not to run out. So, price is secondary to that. So clearly, I think that, as you look at what's scheduled to come in and, building in that cushion, what the market does in the next 2 weeks is really irrelevant if you need wood in the multifamily guys. I'm recommending that, you buy the discount for the ship time. If you're going to start something in June or July, you can try and pick the bottom, but it's really hard. And I told a guy today, I said, I think if you've got this project, you should plan to buy a third. And if the price you pay here, if this is the highest price you pay, then that's great. It's a discount to today's market. If you have jobs not starting until the third quarter right now, unless it's in your budget and that's good, there's no reason to rush to do that.
That good point, Greg.
Those are kind of my, those would be my recommendations.
Greg just mentioned, we put it up in the box below, single and multi-end users are in accumulation mode in back month futures right now.
True.
Yeah. And you look at it in some of those back months relative to the cash market.
Futures are, and you look at the long-term trends, those are reasonable levels to think that, because to think the market's going back to $400 or $500, now we get into like the unknown unknowns. And, my unknown unknown is, let's have a conversation as to how does the Ukrainian war play out? And, is that an escalation? Does oil at $110+ a gallon? Does oil go to 50 and does gas go to, $6 or $7 a gallon? And what does that mean? I'd say at 150 and $6 or $7 with the Fed raising interest rates that, you're in recession by the third quarter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where so that changes the whole dynamics, right? right?
Right. And that's where
But
you have money.
but that's an unknown.
Yes.
Unknown, hey, that's going to happen because we could easily have a ceasefire, over the weekend, and things calm down.
Sure. Sure. And I was listening to Bloomberg on the way in this morning, and one of them said maybe the Fed will do some stuff. And there's a whole segment of the market that thinks everything's climbing the wall of worry, and we'll be back by the third quarter to blowing and going again. I have a hard time believing that, but
Well, we had an unprecedented amount of money flow into the system, $10 trillion in fastest growth in M2 money supply in history. The crazy stat was in the first year after COVID hit, money supply grew more in that 1 year than it did in the 10 years following the financial crisis. Think about that. M2 money supply grew more in 12 months than it did in 10 years.
So we printed more money in the last 2 years, and we print
again, supply chain issues that we're seeing. That's what that created.
Right, and that also ultimately flows to the stock market too. So that's one of the things we saw in there also.
Stock market, cryptocurrencies. NFTs. I know you've loaded up on those, Ash, because
Yeah, because I believe in buying all kinds of things that have no central bank backing them up. I think it just makes a lot of sense. They're well supported. They're not the next best person to buy from you type of theory or musical chairs. I think everybody should be loaded up on NFTs.
Great point. Along those lines is was reading an article recently where obviously we benefit tremendously. The U.S. benefits tremendously with the dollar being the reserve currency of the world, and this article was putting into question is in light of the basically all of Russia's U.S. dollar foreign reserves, that's undermined, the sense of, hey, it makes sense to have dollars as a reserve currency. If the U.S. government can just, take that away, what does that do for down the road? I can get into the whole, negative interest rate on sovereign debt, but that's for another.
For sure. Well, look at a good show. We're up against we're doing our spring 2022 meeting here down in Chicago. So we've been in and out of the conference room. We've got dinner tonight. Went to a reload today. Went and visited a reload in Riverdale, Illinois. Saw a bunch of OSB, a bunch of lumber sitting around there. So it's good to get out and see stick in the field.
Good stuff. Yeah, I'll look forward to
Yeah, sounds good. So when are you back? When are you back in? Are you in for Saturday breakfast?
I'm back on Saturday. Yeah.
Very cool. So Greg Riley, Sitka USA, mxlumber.com. We are the first, the only digital B2B market creating transparency. We want to make it really easy for everybody in the industry to get on and buy and sell lumber, panels, plywood, or OSB in a real-time digital atmosphere. There's no cost to get on. You can be buying and selling tomorrow. Everybody can be your customer on both sides, buying and selling. You don't have to sit on the floor and argue about whose customer is who. If you're young, old, anything in between, and you're sick of that, the person telling you you're going to have to sit by me for 5 years to learn how to do this business, just say I got it on mxlumber.com and I'm selling everybody and buying from everybody now. That's how easy it is.
There you go. All right, it's just a click of a button away.
Well, I always say it's a click, or now with our new app, it's just a little swipe of the button, and you're doing some stuff. So everybody, thanks for joining the show today. Greg, thanks a lot. I'll see you this weekend.
Cheers.
Yep. Bye.